In this video, I'm going to talk about three things. One, gate 28. Two, let's talk about the transits. And three, I'm going to offer some resources to support you with understanding yourself better. Now, if we haven't met before, hi, I'm Carolyn Southwell. I've been playing with human design for 9 years as I record this video, and I have a really strong focus in my courses and my coaching with clients around helping them to decondition so they can actually live their design. There's always more resources below every single video here on YouTube. Now, gate 28. If you are unfamiliar with this gate, there are 64 gates in the human design chart, and all of us have some gates defined and some gates undefined. Defined, colored in, undefined, white. Now, regardless of whether you have gate 28 defined or undefined, it's worth knowing what it's about because it's one of those sticky ones that causes issues. Gate 28 is affectionately known as the gate of struggle. It is a fear gate. It comes off the splenic center. And the fear of this gate is that life is meaningless, life is purposeless, there's no point. What's the point in being alive? The fear that life has no meaning. Now, every gate has so much to teach us, but gate 28 is really here to teach us what is worth the struggle for. Like what are the things in our life for us personally that are meaningful enough, give us enough sense of purpose that they are worth the struggle, worth the pushback, worth the almost the fight, the pushing up against things, right? Now, if you have gate 28 defined in your chart, you will know this energy really well because it has been part of your design, your energetic makeup since you were born. Now, if you, like me, have it undefined, but you grew up in a family that had at least one, or in my case, 2 or 3 people with gate 28 defined, then you have had a sense of this. You have brushed up against it and you have had lots of contact with it. Now, if you are somebody who has it undefined and it feels really unfamiliar to you, you are feeling it right now because you, me, and everyone on the planet has gate 28 defined or activated, might be a better word, by the South Node. So if you are very, very new to human design, you might not know that we have all these planets that light up all these things. That's actually how you got your chart. The planetary positions at the point where you were born and about 3 months before you were born, 88 degrees, astrologically. So that's how you got your chart. But of course, the planets have continued to move in relation to us and planet Earth every day since you were born, all the time, every minute since you were born. And right now, the South Node is activating or giving us a sense of the definition of gate 28. Now, you get a double up if you're somebody who has gate 28 defined and it might be pushing you around even more. But if you're like me and you have gate 28 undefined in your chart, then right now you might be experiencing a sense or a feeling or an experience of more struggle in some parts of your life. I really noticed it yesterday. I was sitting on a couch drinking a yummy dirty chai, coffee, in this really lovely cafe, and something had happened that I had been working on and I was disappointed again. I'm making changes to the way I do my work and my business. I'm still building courses and serving clients in the background, but I'm making some changes. And there was something that I had been working towards and it hadn't worked. And I'd had a series in the last few weeks, a series of things that I had been working on that hadn't worked out as I'd planned. And I was really disappointed. And for a moment there, I had a sense of feeling, in fact, it had been growing, this sort of sense of almost feeling depressed. Now, not chronically or clinically depressed, but sometimes I will get situationally depressed when time and time again, things aren't working out. Maybe you've also had this experience. And I was sitting there feeling rather sorry for myself until I realized, as I reflected on what I was feeling and what I was noticing, I'd noticed that there was a thought that had come up several times in the last few weeks of like, what's the point? Why bother? Now, I've heard these before from a family member who does have gate 28 defined, and this stuff would come out of their mouth all the time. But it's not mine. It's not self. It's not mine, right? So when I was reflecting on those voices, I was like, that voice sounds rather a lot like something gate 28 would say. So I looked up the transits, and lo and behold, gate 28 is lit up by the South Node now, and has been for a while, and will be, just so you have forewarning, will be through till about the 22nd of June this year, 2023, around the solstice. I say about because it depends on where you are in the world and the exact timing and all those sorts of things. So all of us right now get a taste of what it's like to struggle. And as soon as I saw that the South Node had activated gate 28, I immediately felt a sense of relief. Why? Because I realized that there was nothing broken and there was nothing that needed fixing. And I didn't need to go on some big healing journey to like go and clean up all of the old parts of me that are struggling. I just had to realize that I had this rather unwanted guest named Gate 28 visiting for a while. And my job was to just be with that energy and notice that energy and see what I can learn from the experience that you're also having right now of the energy of gate 28. So, transits. Let's talk about transits for a minute. If you know enough about human design and it very much depends on where you're at in your journey. If looking up planetary positions right now feels too overwhelming and you're still trying to get your head around, type and strategy and inner authority, I'll put some links below this video for you to focus on those basics. Because of course, if you can understand enough about yourself and how to follow strategy and inner authority for your type, for your chart, then that is the basis of which all of this other beautiful nuanced work can happen. But if you are like, yeah, baby, I want to know when one of the planets are moving through one of these gates that is like bugging the heck out of me, then here are 3 options that you can do for looking up the transits. 1, I have an app on my phone called Human Design App. It's not available on all phones, and I don't think it's available in all countries. But if you can find it wherever you get apps, Human Design App, and it has current transits as one of the buttons. So that's one option. Another option is you can look up the jovianarchive.com just now chart. If you Google Jovian Archive just now, then you'll get a chart that shows the current transits just now, hence the name. So that will also be helpful. And then you'll be able to see which planets are defining. It doesn't really give you a definition, but it gives you a sense of the definition. It is the definition that you're feeling from the planets, the way we can feel definition from other people, but doesn't change us, okay? Now, the third option is to buy yourself an ephemeris. I will link to Zen Human Design. Chaitanya makes really affordable ephemeris that he cares about getting them really accurate and really great. So that's a great resource. I'll put that below this video. And you could do this for a while if you like. Like you could look up the transits every day and use it as an opportunity to learn more about yourself and your chart and see the energies that are impacting you. Remember, it's not you. It doesn't change your birth chart. Your birth chart is yours for this whole life. As long as you have this body, you have that chart, and you don't suddenly become a manifesting generator one day and a generator another day or manifestor another day. Like that doesn't happen, right? As much as people talk about it, there is you, and then there is everything else that impacts you. And we get a taste, like we're getting a taste of gate 28 right now. We get a taste or a sense or the impact or the influence of these other definitions from these other entities that are not us. Okay. So you could look up the transits every day for a while and use it as a great learning opportunity, and maybe a sense of relief when you realize, whoa, I'm not broken. There's nothing to fix here. I just have an unwanted visitor. Okay, let's learn from this visitor. Or you could do like I do, just remember that there is this resource called being able to look up the transits. And just when you're like kind of ready to pull your hair out, please remember there is this resource you can look up and then go, okay, that's what's happening. Now, one final thing before I leave you with it, is obviously to be able to make sense of this, you have to have a good enough understanding of all 64 human design gates. Or if you've studied the I Ching, the Chinese I Ching hexagrams, it's the same thing, right? Or if you've studied gene keys with Richard Rudd, you can look at the way that he describes these same 64 energies. But if you haven't already studied that, then I will link to another resource of my favorite. I'm like looking at it over here. My favorite resource I have ever found in 9 years on learning about the gates. It will depend on whether you're a visual or auditory or kinesthetic learner, like your favorite way to intake resources. But I will link to something that you can learn about your gates that I adore. See the look on my face, I adore. I'll link that below this video. And if there was anything in this video that didn't make sense, I know I covered a lot of things, or if you want to tell me about your experience of Gate 28, or anything related to this, feel free to drop it in a comment below. Useful comments, please. Questions, helpful things you'd like to share with other people, and resources and other ways to work with me will also be below this video. Bye for now.